What are the differences between a longboard, a skateboard, and a cruiser? That's what I'm gonna cover. All right, now I'm gonna be completely real. I was a little hesitant to even make this video because the differences just seem obvious to me, but I was reviewing the comments in the beginner longboard video, and there still seems to be a good amount of beginners that are confused. For most of you, I'd say that this video is just gonna be obvious, so I don't wanna waste your time. You don't have to watch this. Go shred instead. Now, for those of you that are sticking around and are curious about the differences, you're gonna hear me throughout the video say words like typically, usually, mostly, because nothing really is set in stone. You compare it to like the medical field where there are scientific definitions backed by data. With skating, that's not so much. The first thing that you want to do is define what type of riding you're going to be doing. What's your environment like? That's gonna help you narrow down your choices. For example, from ages like 5 years old to when I was like 14, all I used was a skateboard, and that's pretty much because I wanted to do tricks at the skate park. Fast forward in high school, all I really wanted to do was bomb hills and do slides, and that's why I picked up a loaded Tan longboard. And now I pretty much just want to cruise, which is why I'm obsessed with mini cruisers and surf skates. The first thing you're probably gonna notice is how the longboard is bigger in size. Typically, deck length ranges from around 34 all the way to like 46 inches, give or take, and width around 8.5 to 10 inches. Now, because they're longer, they're gonna have longer wheelbases, which if you don't know what that is, it's the distance between one truck to the other. A longer wheelbase is gonna make it more stable at higher speeds. In most cases, I know there's probably someone out there right now that's like,
well, a lot of it has to do with rider error.
And like, I understand that, but this is just giving you a rough idea, Johnny. Now, depending on what type of longboard you have, some of them, like this one specifically, has a lot of flex in it, which almost acts as like suspension when you're cruising, like if you go over rocks or pebbles or cracks, but then also it like locks you in when you're carving. Now, I personally really like flex on this type of longboard, but it does kind of come down to personal preference. Skateboards will range anywhere from 31 to 33 inches and about 7.25 to 8.5 inches wide. Obviously, skateboards have the most aggressive kicktail and nose so that you can do tricks. They have some slight concave, but really the defining characteristic of a skateboard is like that popsicle shape. Cruisers range from 28 to 34 inches and are typically 8 to 10 inches wide. Best way to describe a cruiser is you take the longboard, you mix it with the skateboard, and it's a nice little crossbreed. Low-key kicktails and some type of nose is common among cruisers, so you can do flip tricks if you want. Trucks on a longboard are typically reverse kingpins, often referred to as RKPs, which look like this. They're inverted compared to a traditional kingpin, TKPs, which you'll find on skateboards and most cruisers. But I guess to put it simply, RKPs are better at higher speeds. They're more stable and they're just better for carving, which is why you find them on longboards. Whereas TKPs are lighter, they're lower to the ground, and they're better for grinding because the kingpin bolt is behind the hanger. Find TKPs often on cruisers, like the dinghy blunt here, but there's also cruiser setups that use RKPs, like the loaded Coyote. You can put RKPs on there. So this gives you a rough idea. Wheels on longboards and cruisers are usually softer and wider compared to skateboard wheels. The softer the wheel, the better for cruising on street because they absorb pebbles and cracks easier. Smaller and harder wheels are used on skateboards since you can easily do power slides and they're less forgiving if you get wheel bite after landing a trick. Okay, so hopefully that gives you a rough idea of the differences between these boards, but there might still be some of you out there like, so how do I choose? Do you want to do tricks, shred skate parks, street spots, become the next Nigel Houston? Get a skateboard. But if you want to shred roads for longer distances, get speed, throw some slides, there's a bunch of different categories within it, but get a longboard. If you want the best of both worlds, something maybe that's a little more portable, then a cruiser is probably solid for you. But then again, I don't know, you gotta make up your mind. At the end of the day, don't get too caught up on the technicals of gear. Just try to define what type of riding you want to do. Do the research, obviously. You want to get the right board for you, but just get out there and shred.